Hello and welcome to Eye on South Asia. I'm Bhavna Vanan.
And I'm Sanjeev Pandya.
Every week we'll bring to you the latest news and happenings in the South Asian community.
That's right.
Sanjeev, on to our top headlines for this week. As India comes into the new year, 2013, we're looking at how much India is growing. Nationally, its GDP versus like 2 years ago, let's say. Back in 2011, India was growing quite a bit, as much as 8–9%.
True.
And then last year, in the middle of the year, we noticed that there was quite a significant drop in its growth, and it went from somewhere from 8.2% down to 5.3% growth rate.
Correct.
And while these may seem like small percentages, we're really looking at numbers as big as $53 billion in general terms, or $131 billion in purchasing power.
That's right.
So that's quite a bit of a change in India.
Gross domestic product, GDP. That's what indicates country's growth and how far country has progressed. India had maintained 10% GDP about 4 years ago, and slowly started to come down. For this year, it was predicted that it will be a little less than 10%, then they say it will be a little less than 9%, and now we know barely India is going to make it to 6%.
Right.
What it says is that the economy, India's economy, is not doing that good as it's being said by so many people. Number of poor people are rising, and more people are more poor in India than ever before.
Right.
About 65 years ago, when India became independent, 1947, right? The population was around 320 million.
Right, the total population.
The total population.
Exactly.
Now India is at 1.1 billion people over there. So a number of poor people are rising, and richer, of course they have a lot of money. One can say that more and more people are getting richer, but the percentage is so low, and it is making country's GDP come to like less than 6%. And that is the alarming news, not only for India, but other countries in the world, major countries like US, Japan, China.
Right,
Russia.
all of the countries who are allied with India in their business efforts, their foreign direct investments as well. As you mentioned, the rise in poverty, the population back then was 320 million.
Correct.
And now the poor people's population itself is 320 million. That's amazing.
It is. And I just want to add one more thing regarding GDP. India's tax GDP ratio of 16%, which is the lowest in any major economy of the world.
Right. And the government has actually lost a lot of revenue from taxes, and they've lost anywhere from about $5 billion in taxes. That's a translated amount. And this has resulted in a lot of deep cuts in social spending, where we look at areas like defense and just I'm not talking about the international area where, we discussed last time where India was making defense deals with Russia. We're talking about domestic defense issues where they need to find ways to protect the people, civilian development like the police force, etc. So that's where they're losing a lot of their money. And as you mentioned, the rich are getting richer, the poor are getting poorer. We talked about Mukesh Ambani. He's made a list this week.
Yeah, again he made a list. I mean,
right.
Every single list of richest people in the world, he's up there, right?
Yeah.
And we know how big a company Reliance is. But anyway, coming back to this thing, this is a really serious issue. And even IMF, International Monetary Fund, or even World Bank, they are all concerned about this because they had high hope for India's GDP even going above 10% for at least the next decade. But now coming to 6%, what's going to happen in the next few years or even next couple of years will definitely set a tone definitely on India's economy, and it's going to be all black and white.
Right. Indian optimism is actually not looking so good. It's more like pessimism at this point.
There's one person who's being very optimistic.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, I remember reading of that. Dr. C. Rangarajan, he's the chairman of the Indian Prime Minister's Council of Economic Advisors. And he believes that country on its path for even stronger and a better GDP in the future. He really believes that. He's the only one person raising his opinion saying that country is going to do better GDP in the coming years.
Well, maybe he knows something that we don't.
Yeah, exactly.
We're hoping that Indian optimism does actually grow from this year onwards. All right, going on to India's foreign policy. What challenges do they have in this new year? Well, in relation to this economic downturn, the foreign policy relation has turned into kind of a strange one where Afghanistan is in play, and we have the U.S. that typically sought India's help with Afghanistan to use their diplomatic status when they pull their Western troops out, that India would help the country stabilize. And pulling out the troops hasn't been as smooth as it could have been under the NATO policy, especially with the US and Pakistan being at opposing ends. But the US has actually allied more with Pakistan now because they're Pakistan is cooperating with bringing forward Taliban prisoners.
Or all terrorist organizations.
Exactly. And at this point, India seems to be taking a back seat in this relationship. So I don't know, how do you see this Indo-US alliance?
Well, last week we talked about US Senator John Kerry. Who is, I think, nominated by President Barack Obama to replace Hillary Clinton as a Secretary of State, right? And we talked about that how John Kerry is, very, I would say, sensitive and, a little bit more closer to India than Pakistan, although he is also a lot, leaner to Pakistan also. But this is what I firmly believe, that when it comes to India's foreign policy, I think US controls most part of it. Because if you look at it, there's Pakistan, Afghanistan, neighboring countries, and the center of foreign policy changes or development or anything that happens in the area, it's mainly controlled by US.
Right.
Now, of course, for various reasons, US getting deeper and deeper into Afghanistan and Pakistan. So I don't think India will have a lot of say in it. Eventually, it will be controlled by US. And with John Kerry's nomination, coming back to the point, I think he will personally meet with Prime Minister Manmohan Singh, because next election is not till 2014, and I'm sure that he will guide India's foreign policies in the neighboring countries.
Right. So he has a pretty good relationship with both countries.
Yes.
And he's hopefully going to see to it that both have their participation. But he understands
that India's role is bigger, not only in the region, but all over in the world. And he's aware of the fact that U.S. needs India's support and leadership in many areas.
Right. And especially in this situation, all of the countries do have the same goal, which is to stabilize Afghanistan.
Right.
So that is the goal, and if they all keep that in mind, it should end in a better way, hopefully, than Iraq.
Okay. And again, like I say, it's going to be a lot more controlled by U.S.
Yeah. On to Obama appointing Indian Americans into the administration. You had mentioned that there were a record number of Indian Americans that are going to be entering the Obama administration in this term.
Have we missed any week since Obama got reelected? Every week
there's been a few people.
President Obama nominates one Indian for this cabinet and one Indian American for that post and this
post.
And it continues.
Yes, it continues with a new Indian American appointed as federal judge. Now, Obama has renominated Shrikant Srinivasan among the 33 federal judges for the U.S. Court of Appeals. And he's the only Indian American to be nominated in the District of Columbia.
Out of 33 judges.
Out of 33 judges.
Right.
And Srinivasan comes from a very reputed background at Stanford Law. He became an associate and eventually a partner at the law firm Melvanian Myers in D.C. And he's won so many awards, like the Attorney General's Award for Excellence in Furthering U.S. National Security.
This is the first time that I'm hearing the president re-nominate somebody. I mean, it's the entire group of all 33 people. So if he does not re-nominate, is it one single person does not get re-nominated, or the entire group does not get re-nominated? I don't know.
I believe it's certain people that he's, picking for renomination
Okay.
because, you know, we're looking here at one specific person, but then again, they all function as a team in
Correct.
essence.
Okay, so good luck to Mr. Srinivasan, right?
Good luck to Mr. Srinivasan. And moving on to the East Coast,
Yes.
we have still the superstorm effects of Sandy here, and people in the community are still using their creativity to reach out and help the people affected by the storm.
Yep.
And there is one Indian American, his name is Mohan Ramachandani.
Mohan Ramchandani is one of those finest custom-made tailors in the nation. He's very well known, right? He's got a shop here in Manhattan, and some of the finest athletes from basketball, hockey, and baseball. I guess they are his clients.
Right,
Yeah.
and that would
He's
be
very well known.
Mohan's Customs.
Mohan's Custom Tailors.
Mohan's Custom Tailors.
One of my favorite shops.
Your favorite shop.
One of my favorite.
His favorite customer, right here.
Very expensive suits, but
Yes.
great suits, custom-made suits.
And he's really reaching out in a very big way. He's using his business to partner with the Hope program,
Yeah.
and they're actually creating this program called Suit Up for Hope event, and it's basically empowering New Yorkers living in poverty and affected by the storm to be empowered, I guess,
Yep.
through his contributions. He's contributing suits value between $500 and $1,500 to a dozen students and graduates of this program.
Right.
So this really affects a lot of people, especially those who are affected by Sandy. And this is really just going to help a lot of people regain their confidence
I
and
guess
be able to enter the workforce. And
that is
again.
the main reason, because Mohan Ramchandani, as he quoted in his storyline, that he's helping them to wear good suit and a shirt, so that way they can be confident, they can go to work again and be happy about themselves. And I guess in midst of all this Sandy superstorm damages and whatever occurred, at least for a moment they will have a little bit of peace of mind.
Yeah.
But $500 to $1,500, Bhavna, I can tell you, could probably get one or two suits maybe, and just a handful of shirts
Yes.
from his place. Because it is a fact that when you dress up well, of course you think well, you do well, you perform well, and you're happy.
Yeah.
And that's what this is one of our unique stories, and I think this happens to be one of my favorite stories of the week.
Right, and this is really going to give these people a lot of confidence and elevate their
Right.
state of
Yep.
mind.
So Mohan Ramchandani and this organization called Hope gotten together, and they're doing good for a charity and helping the people out.
Excellent. All right, so we're going to take a short break,
Okay.
and we're going to have some more business stories after our break. We'll be right back on Eye on South Asia right after the break.